Here's Kyle Shanahan, coach of the 49ers, and Jimmy Garoppolo after the game on Garoppolo's future with the team.
I love Jimmy. I'm not going to sit here and make a farewell statement or anything right now. It's the last stuff on my mind, but Jimmy has battled his ass off. He battled today. He did some unbelievable things today, and I love coaching Jimmy.
But you've been very honest about how any of these games could be potentially your last one with the Niners. How much do those emotions seep in a moment like this?
They hit pretty hard in the locker room. I think these next couple days they'll really start to settle in a little bit. Emotions are high after a game, win or loss, and it's just it's one of those things you gotta be glad it happened. Just smile from it and think about the good things. We'll see what happens in these next couple days, weeks, whatever. But I love this team. Just the fight and the battle in this team throughout the entire year has been really impressive, and I love those guys.
Look, teams out there looking for quarterbacks could do worse than Jimmy Garoppolo.
No doubt.
He's not bottom 5, but he's not top 15.
Right.
He's arguably not top 20. And it was a weird year because they did try every possible thing they could to find somebody other than Garoppolo. I think they freaked out when they made the trade from 12 to 3. I think they freaked out when they went for Trey Lance. I don't know. And I don't know that we'll ever know why we didn't see more Trey Lance this year. He played Week 17 because Garoppolo was coming off of the thumb injury he suffered against the Titans 2 nights before Christmas. There was not even a Trey Lance cameo at any point after that. They got away from that very early in the season, using Trey Lance in any capacity. Maybe there would have been a time yesterday where you zig when they zag. You don't expect to see Trey Lance come into the game. You put him in a game like that just to give him a snap or two. Nothing. That all went away after the first few games of the season, and it was all Jimmy Garoppolo. And, Chris, I will not be – nothing will completely stun me anymore after what we've seen the last 2 weekends in the NFL. But, is there a way that the dominoes fall, that the 49ers just say, screw it, let's keep Jimmy G for one more year and give Trey Lance another year to season? I'm just starting to wonder what they think they have in Lance and whether or not they think he will be ready to go next year if they trade or release Jimmy Garoppolo.
It's an interesting question for sure. It is. I have a hard time thinking that it won't be Trey Lance next year. I do. And again, all your questions I think are really valid. I've wondered the same thing. Like, why didn't we see more of them? We talked about we heard Shanahan, and he talked about like the package you might use them in all training camp, and that never really happened. I think ultimately, Mike, what happened is they realized it was not good for their football team for this year. I think it was upsetting the locker room. I think we got enough signals there to know that the locker room liked Jimmy G. I think we also got enough signals to know that, hey, Trey Lance, it's really raw. It is raw. And I don't think they wanted to throw him out there anymore, knowing that, again, we don't know where it's going to go. We don't know if he's ready for prime time yet. And they want their shiny new toy to look really good because of all the assets they traded to acquire it. But I think all in all, again, from what they traded, how controversial the pick was, the excitement I think the 49er fan base has for Trey Lance, the fact that they did try so hard to get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo this whole offseason or this past offseason. I have a hard time thinking it won't be Trey Lance, and that era will start next year. I think you'll see that.
The only reason I have pause when we talk about that is I was convinced Garoppolo wouldn't be on the team week 1. It just didn't make any sense. It defied logic that they would give up so much for Trey Lance, continue to pay Jimmy Garoppolo $25 million a year, and create an opportunity where, and I know it would have been the proverbial good problem to have, they get to the Super Bowl with Jimmy G, and they necessarily put themselves in a situation where they have to keep him for next year, the final year of his contract, and put Trey Lance on the bench for 2 seasons after everything you've invested to go get him. So I don't know what they're going to do. There's a lot of affection within that organization for Jimmy Garoppolo.
There is, that's for sure.
And so, how do you bridge from Garoppolo to Lance? And look, this is a topic for another day, but we know how creative they are when it comes to thinking about their quarterback options. Would it be so nutty to think that Kyle Shanahan would look at the looming availability of Aaron Rodgers. Not that the Packers would be inclined to trade Aaron Rodgers to the 49ers, but you know what? If Rodgers decides that's the only team he wants to play for, what are the Packers going to do? But the bridge becomes Rodgers for 2 years, then Lance after that. Then Lance will have sat 3 years just like Rodgers did to start his career. But if they could get Rodgers, how could they say no to that if they could get Rodgers? I don't think that's going to happen because, first of all, where do they come up with their trade assets?
That would be the thing I would look at. Right.
You'd have to dangle Nick Bosa, I think, to try to get Aaron Rodgers. So I don't think they can pull it off after everything they gave up to get Trey Lance. But it's a tough spot. It's a tough call. And even though they didn't make it to the Super Bowl, and the fact they didn't make it makes it easier to pivot from Garoppolo to Lance.
Yeah, sure.
And everyone's going to assume they're going to. I'm not ready to say with 100% certainty it's going to happen, because I thought it was going to happen last year and it didn't.
Yeah, I know. I think that this is the perfect time, though. This is. I mean, it showed itself here again. Even in the playoffs, they won 2 games, and it wasn't because of Jimmy Garoppolo. That's for sure. Solid football, but I mean, again, come on, bad interceptions in Green Bay. Special teams won the game. Playing in Dallas, defense was awesome. Ran the ball well, did all of that. He played solid, but of course we know. Missed some plays at the end of that football game that could have sealed the deal and ended it, let them hang around, threw a bad interception. That, to me, I mean, it's all there. I think the time is now. And within Trey Lance, again, too, they're going to look at it and go, yeah, of course he's not the seasoned vet Jimmy Garoppolo is, but he's got a skill set that is certainly dangerous, or more dangerous than Jimmy Garoppolo, if they can kind of hone it in. We saw that Week 17. He plays. They won the football game, him starting. That was impressive. He started a game in Arizona earlier this year where, again, he hurt his knee a little bit and took some big shots, but gave them a chance to win the game. They lost 17-14. So I think there's going to be enough there to go, wait, the talent, the assets which we traded to get the guy, what we know about Jimmy G, I think this is a coaching staff, a team that's going to look at it and go, well, why can't we get right back here next year with a guy like Trey Lance? Well, why can't I develop him and get into a spot to where, we could play him, and I can bring quarterback design, run stuff into play, and all of that as well. So I think the time is now, and I think we will see Trey Lance.
Here's the last thing I'll say about Jimmy Garoppolo. He must be one hell of a nice guy because, look, football, especially at the highest level, is the ultimate, you got to get it done or you're taking a seat game. And he clearly doesn't get it done in the big moments. He does it just well enough in the not big moments to keep going. But that ruthless, blind, dispassionate, you're not good enough. Sorry, you're not good enough. Somebody else is going to do it. That has evaded him, other than the trade, obviously, but just the idea that they've stuck with him, and that there's even a discussion to be had. Oh, do they love him enough to give him one more year? I remember Jed York talking about the development of Trey Lance in the offseason, saying, hey, if we invest $50 million in developing Trey Lance by keeping Jimmy Garoppolo for 2 more years, so be it. So I've learned not to expect anything.
I hear you.
And they do really love the guy. And
they do.
I don't know where he's going to land if he's not in San Francisco, but he's going to get a shot somewhere.
Yes,
he's
will.
Not the worst quarterback in the NFL. I think if all else fails, Pittsburgh is where we'll see Jimmy Garoppolo, and he'd be an upgrade over Mason Rudolph. That's for damn sure.
100% there. I'll agree with you. It's just too many of these moments. I think ultimately that's what you look at. You go, these kind of moments here where you just go, what? How could you have played that much football and done that? Shovel pass, a pass like that. Go ahead. What do you want to say?
Well, you reminded me of something I wanted to say earlier.
Yeah.
At some point, that last drive, okay, you're down 3. You put it in Jimmy's hands.
Right.
I tweeted before that drive began, here's the game plan for the final drive. Debo, Kittle, Debo, Kittle, Debo, Debo, Kittle. They were not involved at all in that last drive. How do you not get the ball, if you're Kyle Shanahan, into your 2 best ass-kicking, run over you, set the tone, boost the team, kickstart that final drive? How do you not get it in their hands on that last drive, Chris?
Well, again, it's not always, it's easier said than done.
Hand it off to Debo. 1st and 10. Hand it off to Debo.
Well,
and let him
I
do
know
his
they
thing.
have one timeout left. They got a ton of time. They got a ton of field to go. So there is that aspect too, to where again we don't want to run the ball up the middle and get 2 yards in that moment, and then we got 20 seconds go off the clock for 2 yards. That's where again I'm not going to fault Shanahan for that. Nobody gets their stars the ball more in big moments than Shanahan. To me, again, it goes into a little bit of the quarterback too. I'll be able to give you more answers tomorrow or Wednesday when I watch the film a little bit to see, but I know I can speak to, hey, there's just 2 quarterbacks in this football game. One of them was 11 for 18 on 3rd down with a pass rush bearing down on his butt all game long, and he just kept hitting bullseyes and bullseyes and bullseyes, whether they were covered or not. He was throwing a bullseye in there. And then there was another quarterback who was 3 for 9 and shaky in those situations and doesn't always hit the bullseye there, and of course made a crucial mistake right there. Again, I'd never like to boil it down to the quarterback or anything like that. You know me, I'm usually, hey, team. And we see the Rams, both of these teams are really good football teams, no doubt about it. But it was a game and where it shook out to where it just really exemplified, here's one team that can't run the ball. Oh, and their quarterback's going to make plays. Okay, so their quarterback's making plays. They can't run the ball. Defense is playing good. Here's another team where, can't really run the ball either. Defense is playing good, but the quarterback can't make any plays either. And now it's the offensive coordinator, Shanahan, that's got to come up with all these great plays and, awesome, perfect screen pass to Deebo Samuel to run for 44 yards and a touchdown. And to me, that's where there's just too much pressure on Shanahan and the 49ers offense all the time. It's too much. We need Shanahan to come up with the big play instead of every now and then can a quarterback make a play to help Shanahan a little bit? And I think that's bit them in the butt, whether it's this year or the Super Bowl loss to the Kansas City Chiefs. It was very similar that way. It was about Jimmy G. The game got put in his hands, and he can't quite deliver that way. It's like we see some of the other great quarterbacks.
You and I both ultimately believed in the Rams for yesterday by 3 points. We both got it right. Blind squirrels eating acorns today because great players playing great. That's what the Rams were doing in this postseason run. They have great players. They were playing great, and they made enough great plays yesterday to win the game in advance to the Super Bowl.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.